Welcome to Unpacking Culture.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Linnell, how are you?
I'm well. Alex D. Haynes, how are you?
I'm well.
Awesome.
I'm well.
I could have
What's
been
that?
asleep, I could have been asleep watching this underwhelming battle. But here we are.
So, but let me not do these. Do you think that we're out? So I'm not going into any of these thinking that we're going to actually get a battle. I
Okay.
actually am almost ready to say that the rap battle days are over.
Oh, are they?
I
That was
mean,
real
I
terrible.
don't want to go too far. I don't want to go too far deep into that without bringing in our guests, but I'm gonna state my argument for why I think it's probably over.
Okay.
And you whatever. Anyway, welcome to Unpacking Culture. We are highlighting, or not really highlighting, but we will we will battle here about what you heard tonight. If you watch the not UC, that's us. The versus battle between Nelly and Ludacris. Cornell Hayes Jr. and Christopher Bridges.
So we're using government. I mean,
they're 42 and 46, and we'll talk about that as well.
Yes.
So those names are appropriate as well. But we'll talk about it. I think we're gonna have to hit the same thing that we hit every single time. Like why? I will tell you who rehearsed, and I will tell you who didn't. Who just showed up. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
We can talk about that. But we got some special guests with us today. And Bianca, welcome back. And Ty.
Yay. Thank you.
Welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Hey. Now, I think
Bianca already won.
If you're watching this, you should definitely have your drink ready. I had a couple before. Well, let's start here. Last week we watched Jill Scott and Erykah Badu. We knew that there was some speculation that this was coming last week. It came. And so how did you prepare? Did you have a special meal? Did you sit down with something? Did you have a special drink? What happened?
Well, me, I was really prepared for Nelly to come out the bag, so I wore my J's to the party because I thought he was gonna come out the bag with stuff on my J's.
Okay. Bianca, how did you prepare?
Well, if I prepared like I was in the 7th grade when I, fell in love with Ludacris and married him in the 8th shortly thereafter, I probably would have been sneaking to my room to listen to the album to prepare because Mama didn't play that. But today, I actually didn't prepare much. I really overly prepared last week because I felt like there was a lot that they both had to prove. Like everybody didn't know who would win. But I felt like this one really spoke for itself. So I was just ready for Luda to knock it out the park.
I'm like, I actually from jump was like, Luda.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And that's not just because Forever I Love Atlanta, but just, Chris Bridges.
That's not even one of the reasons?
Now, Forever I Love Atlanta is definitely one of the reasons. It's a huge reason because as Luda's shirt said, Atlanta influences everything. Period. But Luda, like, he's got a catalog to the point that, during the whole time when Nelly was struggling, he was like, I got extra. It's cool. I got us.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to let you, I'm extremely biased tonight.
You are.
In so many ways. I'm biased. I'm conflicted. They both have catalogs. We'll say that they both definitely have catalogs. They both came with what they were ready to present those catalogs. I think that, and I don't know if people are taking it as seriously. First, I'll tell you how I prepared. I definitely, and I still have. I've been drinking on this. Well, another bottle of wine, and cognac, of course. So,
Of course.
I prepared there with also with I had some I ordered some wings. I was really chicken and beer ready, except no beer. I don't really know that there's a like when I think about Nelly's music, that's like a lot of it is pre-drinking age. It kind of and then drinking age, but not legal drinking age. So, you know, experimental alcohols and you know, like then he started making music with Tim McGraw and you know, that. So I definitely wasn't gonna be drinking vodka tonight. So I thought cognac was appropriate. And you know, my conflicts, obviously, I was born in St. Louis. I lived there for 9 years and then moved to Georgia. And I was raised in Atlanta. So, and I am in so many ways, I think I have a lot of foundational St. Louis in me, you know, and I love I would love what a kid would love from home, right? And, you know, I'm a part of this argument all the time. Like there are cultural arguments that surround like even this battle, you know, the argument between sugar and grits and salt and pepper. Sugar and rice and salt and pepper. Like that's an argument. Now I'm both because I spent so much time in Georgia. I like it, you know, a little salty, but I love it with some butter and sugar. And so, you know, people they can't connect with that, but I'm like, I use that as an analogy because music for me and with this battle, it's the same argument. Like I'm texting my cousins and talking to my cousins and they are obviously on one side. But so many things, you know, I think I love the sound, but my foundation and, you know, my love of music developed definitely undoubtedly in Atlanta. A lot of what you see in Atlanta artists, like, and we'll get here, but there's a lot of things a lot of different fundamental differences that I see that I would love for us to jump into. But I would like to start with the glaring problem that we are seeing over and over and over again every single week. And for future artists that are going to do this at all, we don't want you to come unless you run through something before you get there.
Yeah.
I can't tell your team how to prepare.
However,
I can't tell you that, but I will tell you that if you if you're at home and this is a setup that you use regularly, you know what's going on. And I tweeted something out. It's totally, I know that you like people, you say that you're not technical, but all of us have had broadband for almost 20 years. So there's no reason for you not to know the fundamentals. And so when your internet service provider is offering you the lowest package and you're like, oh, it's all the same Wi-Fi, man, they lying to us. They just trying to get more money. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
I have a question though. I have never in all of the rainstorms of my life had my internet mess up due to a rainstorm. Now I have had satellite mess up due to a rainstorm. And maybe this is just me. And I've had some pretty crappy internet in the past, including now. I have still never had a rainstorm mess up my internet. So I'm curious, have any of you ever experienced?
I think his router was outside.
I mean, I think the weather has affected. The last time I remember the weather affecting the internet was when we had dial-up. So
I'm gonna throw like 20 seconds of tech speak in here. It's definitely a regional thing. And so while some internet connections are run through cable lines, some run through fiber, some go through different connections. Like some cities, a lot of their wiring is still above ground. And that's something to consider. New York is one thing I learned here is that if you live in the 5 boroughs in New York, you usually will never have a power outage due to weather. Like a transformer may blow, but everything is so far underground, like under the subways. That's not even something I could lie to, you know, an employer and say, oh, the power went out, because they know it hasn't gone out for 100 years. So apply that same like thinking to, but regardless, I really think this is a finance issue. And I think that you're paying like $40 a month for 100 megabytes or whatever, when you should at least minimum, you got a studio at home, you should at least at minimum like 300. You have multiple people. Well, I'm saying you have multiple people on these connections. And people don't realize every device and most of our homes are running on internet now. People are watching internet TV. So the more that you do, the more bandwidth that you need. You can't, the buffering is not just happening because the internet sucks. You may just not be paying for it. And when you're trying to pull all this traffic into something like this, call them the day before, and like, hey.
And then take it back down the next day. Like, are they not sending out internet requirements when they send out what you need to have prepared for a Verzuz battle? I'm trying to figure out where the disconnect is.
I saw a lot of tweets of like content directors and people that are kind of like understand the industry, like tweeting out advice for them. But I don't know, like this started with something just so organic. And really, if you're not trying to do the most, you should be okay using your cell provider's LTE. You would have actually he probably would have been better.
He probably would have been, well, depending on, which cell provider. Some are better than others.
The more complex, it's just like the same, like, unfortunately, Teddy Riley is somewhere that we have to keep going to because he did so much on that battle that we just, and like, while he was saying Babyface probably had a problem, everybody else could hear. Everybody else was good. And I think, like, when you try to do the most, even in that scenario, like, I think that, like, I was even seeing people talking about how they need to get, like, riders and all these things that, guys, this is where the industry has to catch up before it gets ran over.
Yes.
There are certain things that, like, this is Instagram. So less is more. But you need somebody to tell you less is more. Otherwise, you have your regular standard of how you like to perform, how you like to entertain, like certain checkbox requirements. I'm a perfectionist at heart. So in a lot of ways, I have those same, like, I'm not going to do something that just looks like trash. I just rather not, because in my mind, I can't get past it. And a lot of artists are that way as well. Well, I say a lot, but clearly, if we go back, we had the troubles with Nelly today. If I go to the gospel one, Hezekiah Walker, like, I just couldn't hear you. Nelly sounded like he was talking to us. Do you guys, Atlanta people, you will remember this when Metro PCS came out and it only came to like Atlanta, one other place. And they only had like one. It was like 678-886. It was, everybody had the same number. You knew they had a Metro by their phone number. But they had these blue Kyocera phones. Like everybody that had Metro, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's what he sounded like he was on. Like while he was like, "Hey, bro."
Why was he yelling? Stop yelling.
It was the myth.
Yeah, I think I was fine with the yelling. I mean, honestly.
So you're not going to acknowledge what Bianca just said?
You said what? You're
just going to skip over what Bianca just said?
No, I acknowledged it. I said I agree. I agree. He put me in the mindset of my brother. Like, and my brother's excitement. My younger brother it was like, that's all I saw. Like, you're really, really going in, but nobody can even hear what's happening. So
right.
Or
he was getting, sir, we can't hear nothing. You're like, we can't vibe with you because we can't hear you.
Can't hear you. I don't know these songs. What are you playing?
No, nobody knows these songs.
I caught a couple of screenshots of Ludacris where he was just looking at him like
the whole time.
So, I like how, because this isn't a drag session, but like certain things must be acknowledged. And when it wasn't working, like I haven't felt this Atlanta in a long time. Like I'm sitting here watching, and I felt I was reading petty Atlanta tweets. Ludacris was just being himself, but it comes across as very petty because it's an innate. It's something that we have innately. Hey, bro, so I really just can't hear you, bro. Like, what's good, bro?
Yo, when he said that his guy needed milk, deceased.
So for me, and my issue is separate from the meth and the Wi-Fi, it was just that there was not, I feel like they need to have a debriefing before. It's like what makes these battles so great is the energy that both artists bring to each other, and then they
Undoubtedly.
do it for the world to see. There was just not a
Undoubtedly.
marriage of energy at all. It was
Right.
like Coke, meth, lean, and then let's pay homage to whomever and be great. And it just was not a mix for me that I wanted to endure.
I feel that. I hear that. I agree with that. I really was trying to, because I rock with Nelly to a degree. Before the battle even started, I said, if he not bringing out Saint Lunatics music, I really I don't see a comparison without the Saint Lunatics catalog included. Now, mind you, that's not a full catalog, but Saint Lunatics has some hits. I didn't hear enough Saint Lunatics music. The music that I did hear, it was kind of like he was stretching out, the good songs he did have. He definitely saved a lot of the good ones for, saved the best for last. But it was some of those in between where he was, just getting it. And I was like, I have never heard this before in my life. I don't even know what this is. So I was really trying to give Nelly some time to get his life together and not be so Atlanta biased. But Luda
I think you sound extremely Atlanta biased though. Because I don't think most people came to it looking for the Saint Lunatics. That's just me. I don't think most people, because most people know Nelly as a standalone artist. Like there are tons of Nelly fans that have no idea who the Saint Lunatics are.
And I just don't understand I don't understand that.
That's a fair perspective. I mean, it's the same way that like I don't know any of these new artists, but they don't understand me. So I think that's fine. I just think it's a because I think, and I was getting a lot of people like realizing while I was talking, they're like, oh, you are vested in both of these. Like you are just like, and it's because I really, really kind of connect in both ways. Todd, what were your thoughts? What were you coming in looking for?
I mean, like I said, I came in prepared. I had on my J's. I was ready for Nelly to really bring it. And like when he started, I was just like, all right, now what's going on? And then throughout the whole ordeal, I was just like, what is this? Where are they? Like, where was the songs that the whole world was rocking to? Like, it wasn't. And then it took it. I was really upset with him because it took him way too long to play Dilemma. I think we should have let off with that. And it didn't come to the end. And I was ready to go. I was just like, no, I can't do this. I refuse.
He couldn't play Dilemma because his Wi-Fi was in a dilemma.
It was definitely in a dilemma.
And truly, he had a dilemma for the first hour, so he did play it. Like he gave you.
He gave
you a dilemma. You didn't need the song.
I just felt like this was just a lot. Like, why do we rehearse? Like, what is going on?
And I think that is. I'm gonna keep coming back to that because I think that when you have someone that has rehearsed and you have someone that has come prepared and you're not, it shows and then it shines and then it overbears. So it went from. Me, I found myself when I looked down and it was 8:01, and I feel like this nigga had played one song. I was like, okay,
one song. I just got tired of his picture buffering. It was just annoying me that every time he played a song, it was buffering, and I was like, I can't. Boo, move on.
Yeah, you can't really enjoy it. So I had some like two lists that I was looking at, and I know that I was looking at certain songs like Standing Alone. And he gave us all of these. EI was one. Air Force Ones. Flap Your Wings. Country Grammar. Tiff Drill. Pimp Juice. Grills. Ride With Me. Hot in Here. Dilemma. That's 10 alone.
Mm-hmm.
So
now, what did he have other ones out of those?
Well, I'm saying that's just 10 alone without any features. So and we got those 10. So I think he got them in, but it was just by the time we got them, by the time they were here, like a lot of people were like, look, I'm not graduating this year, so I'm not watching Obama, but I'd rather just go watch something that is not buffering.
Correct.
So I'm out. And people were just dipping out left and right. I think from Luda, I was expecting How Low, and these are the ones I was expecting. How Low, Move Bitch, Southern Hospitality, My Chick Bad, Splash Waterfalls, Area Codes, Pimpin' All Over the World, Moneymaker. I had on my maybe list Runaway Love because I didn't know if he was going to drop that. So I was happy. I was actually happy to hear that. That was one of his songs that I think he did that kind of showed a lot of versatility. There was a huge message in that song. There was a huge message in the video. I don't know if you guys remember the video, but I just remember that song. And then, of course, I love Mary. So I was just like, that was dope. I was glad he did that. Get Back. So I saw what I came to see. I still wasn't pleased with what I came to see, though. I felt like I'm going into this fully understanding now that they want to just show love. So I'm good with that. Like, I think that's where we are. I'll talk about why I don't think we're going to see rap battles again, but viable rap battles.
So a lot of these, like Tigger in the Basement rap battles.
Yeah, I mean, like even a lot of the cyphers that come out on our quote unquote award shows, they just really don't. Yeah, no, I don't.
I mean, I know it's a real thing, but that's not like a. I mean, that's not the same. That's not the same. Anyone under a certain age, if you don't know what Tigger in the Basement is, Google it. It's
Tigger's World.
But I just was telling Ty about Cedar like a week ago. Had to be a week ago. And nobody knows who that is at this point. I felt away.
No, you mean none of them know. We know Cedar.
We know Cedar. They don't know Cedar.
No, they don't know. They don't. Moment of silence.
So here's the thing. There was a comment. Ludacris, and of course, you know, I gotta highlight some of the BS. So Ludacris made a comment about bringing BET Uncut back. I'm not on board for that at all, for a couple of reasons. First of all, BET Uncut, like Tip Drill was on BET Uncut, you know, and then BET Uncut would end, and then Pastor Kearney would come on, and then some BET gospel, like, you know, whatever. But BET Uncut today, Twitter rated G is already.
What was BET Uncut?
Yeah, Twitter rated G already surpasses what BET was. Like, it was on Uncut because they couldn't play it,
right?
You know, during regular hours. And what you see on Twitter just by accident.
Correct. At 9 o'clock.
I just don't know that it would serve a purpose.
Agreed. It's TV. BET Uncut is now TV.
Did you all find yourselves hearing Nelly trying to vindicate himself over and over when it came to women and sexuality? It just seemed like he was really trying to drive that point home, and we're like, damage has been done.
Just play music and let's just play music and let's keep going.
I honestly think I zoned out. Like after he wasn't addressing his connection issues, I don't care, bro. I
just didn't understand why the music was playing, and then mid-song, it was a picture of him with an award. What are you doing?
He felt like the underdog, and because Country Grammar went diamond, he was trying to just make sure that everyone knew that he belonged there. And although he may belong in rehab,
Ludacris drove the point home. Right. Ludacris drove the point home that, like, Nelly, you have a place here. I think there are also some, like, deep-rooted, like, sellout issues that, like, they don't really come to the forefront. And I know that a lot of these artists started going where people were buying records, because we had a time period where record sales dropped. But of course, the beige were still buying the records, you know, and they loved the records. And so once he crossed over and started making music with Tim McGraw, and he started doing his country music songs, of course, they were buying it up. They were asking him. They wanted him to come perform at hoedowns and harvest festivals at churches, and, you know, all of that. Nelly was doing it doing it big. And he set the stage. He allowed Flo Rida to come into the mix, and they started to make Becca music as well. And like we were talking about at the beginning, yeah, I can't do it because it was snatched away from us. It was taken from us, and it was like in the middle of me A-Town stomping at the end, all of a sudden, you know, I see Becca trying to do the Bankhead bounce to and I'm like, I can't. I'm gonna let you have that. I'm gonna let you keep that. But I don't think he should feel like he's sold out as much as like he went to where there was money, and there was still a lot of money coming in from record sales at that time, just not from us. And it was just certain things that we weren't gonna buy. But he set the stage for people like Flo Rida, and he said that. And there's people that like the Black community drags often. I'm like, these people are doing just fine. Flo Rida, Jason Derulo, these people, they just don't make music for you. They are making great music, selling out concerts, always booked, very paid. They're fine. And just because they're Black, the Black community has a certain view on it. Well, I don't get down with that music. I don't like it like that. And that can cause, I think, abandonment issues in them at times. Like, man, I'm here. I'm making this music. My people don't mess with me at all because
myth.
Like, simply put, and that's fine too.
I'm done.
It is what it is. I think so there was a cringing moment that Ludacris said that he loves R. Kelly unless
yes.
Yeah.
I like R. Kelly, but around my daughters I'm uncomfortable.
I understand how R. Kelly keeps coming up in these battles because we talked about R. Kelly last week.
I don't understand because we talked about it last week.
That's what I'm saying. We talked about it last week too.
Can we just let that go? Like, can we not?
I really understand, and this is where I'm gonna say I was texting back and forth with a friend because she was just like, "Well, I saw everybody tweeting about that, but all of you are still there." And my response to her was, social outrage does not always equate to life application. And there are lots of people that we saw very upset with him. And they're upset with him also for pressure that they feel online. People understand R. Kelly is trash, but cancel culture kind of dominated everything. And people felt obligated to jump into that. And people felt like they had to say that they were canceling him as well while they're jumping into getting in the shower, bouncing to Sex in the Kitchen. And that's just where people are. So when it happened, of course, people tweeted their outrage, but they didn't leave and this is proof that they just weren't as mad as they said they were. They weren't as upset as they said they were. And when it came up last week, the praise goes to him. I mean, the fact of R. Kelly's musical genius is undeniable. It just really is. And it's also that much further amazing that he can't read. And he's that much of a musical genius. That is incredible. It's impeccable. So I think that artists, I think that's why it keeps coming up, because they admire the music, they admire the skill. They don't necessarily admire the man. I can move past it, but I wanted to bring it up just because we did see that outrage. People were just saying like, oh, I can't believe, but I'm gonna wait. So do you really not believe, or do you even really care?
Now, wait a minute. I see a comment here that I've got to show because we got to talk about this. Jocelyn, I need you to put in the comments, his music really ain't that good. You can't be talking about Kales, because of course, separating the man from the accomplishments, I must say that Sex in the Kitchen, by the butter, and the biscuits, and the Trapped in the Closet was a whole series. That's not even going to the Chocolate Factory album. That whole album was a vibe. I mean, I got that on CD.
Okay, so are we addressing that R. Kelly's music isn't that good? Because I'm going to have to speak up.
I don't know.
Jocelyn said yes, his music really ain't that good, and Jocelyn is referring to R. Kelly.
Y'all call me when y'all stop stepping in the name of love at weddings.
And children, especially at white schools, black schools too. They're still singing "I Believe I Can Fly" at every
Hard.
fifth grade graduation.
Congratulations. The kindergartners still running around saying they believe they can fly.
And while I am not listening to R. Kelly at any point in time, a wedding, a bat mitzvah, none of that, I will say that if his music was not that good, we would not have had to cancel him. So
That part.
I say, Jocelyn, you can certainly have your opinion. I don't agree with you, but
I don't
that's
agree
fine.
with that either.
He came out with a whole Trapped in the Closet series, and that is the biggest drama of my life.
Ever. I mean, that was the soap opera of our time. We waited for episodes to drop. That was before
People said, in the closet.
Yeah, that was.
He belongs on some
To the
tracks, you know,
Yeah.
with the train coming very fast. But the music was just and it touched people of all types, all like it whatever.
And not even just his music, the music that he produced, that he wrote for other people. Were also, so I'm including his entire catalog of just. I am still a little sad to find out, but it's still my music, my song of Michael Jackson, which is a whole other conversation. But You Were Not Alone. I don't know why I've always loved that song, but I have, and R. Kelly wrote that one. So you gotta
never alone because he was with teenage girls, sis. Never alone.
I can't see what that man did in his personal life, but he had some bops, okay?
Right. So.
Yeah. Well, and that goes back to people being able to separate the musician from the art. And we had the conversation last week. I feel like it's a conversation we'll have all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to participate in it every time, because there are artists, sexual predator aside, there are artists that I just think are horrible people. That I absolutely love their music. And if I can separate it there, that the question is always, can you separate the two? I don't look at the sexual predator situations. I look at just generally, can I separate the two? I can. And I know that that's a fact without that being a part of it. But, you know, I'm not turning on R. Kelly and bopping him. Although, like I said last week, I do have a neighbor across the street that every Thursday we're getting a full R. Kelly album, and he's starting at 4 p.m. And it's like he plays music for the block from Thursday to Sunday. It starts at 4 p.m. till about midnight. He stopped early tonight, but R. Kelly, it's always R. Kelly on Thursday. And it's a grandfather, a father, and then a son. They all be sitting on the porch. I'm not going over there and telling Mr. Robinson to turn R. Kelly off.
His last name probably is Robinson.
I don't know that. Like, if we don't learn that separation that you were talking about earlier, then we'll never be able to appreciate music again.
Right. Because
to your point, everybody's gonna have individual issues with certain people just based on certain things, you know, personality traits that you don't like.
Yeah.
I just feel like, you know, at the same time, person, art.
People have canceled Cameron because he had on a pink fur. PETA people. I mean,
y'all can't
have their thing.
So
talk about it.
I'm gonna bring it back around.
She got canceled by Ludacris. Period. Period.
Who say
Y'all
that
remember
again?
That?
I'm scared to say that. Again. Say that again.
Chingy got canceled by Ludacris.
I remember that.
Dang, yes, he did.
Didn't he do an interview about that last year? Chingy, that is. Didn't Chingy come out and say something about that last year?
I don't know anything about Chingy post 2004.
I mean, because nobody even realized he exists after Do Your Chain Hang Low.
Actually, I don't remember anything about Chingy post the My Partner Them remix when Ludacris said Chingy was DTP, but we had to end up dropping him.
I remember that.
You remember that.
You hate to see it.
See it. Yeah, I mean,
It's always certain, and that's what I love about lyricists, because when, you know, everyone, well, you know, Ratchet Atlantis, we knew what My Partner Them, but when you heard the remix, you didn't know what was coming in. I remember when I heard that, my eyes just was like, that is because that music lives on.
Yeah.
So to put something like that into a song, I'm like,
that's
wow. You know, and I was even feeling like people were like, they shouted out Carrie Hilson, and people canceled her. People canceled Carrie Hilson for much less than all of these other people have been canceled for.
Yes.
That said, I still love Carrie Hilson, and I always have.
Absolutely.
I don't know what to tell those people that have so much hatred towards her. I'm not one of those people. But, you know, and I don't really want to talk about that situation because every time I do, I have to tell people the backstory, and they're like, wow, I didn't know that. But people, it's real. It's real.
Let's talk about the actual event. I'm sorry, I can't call it a battle. I just can't. It just doesn't fly out the mouth well. Was there a favorite moment or song of yours tonight from Nelly or Ludacris? Favorite song or moment? Anyone who has one first.
I will have the same question, so I want to throw my question and attach it to yours. So these answers, but I want to add on. It's like compound question. What song took you to a place? That's if there was one.
Okay. Middle school me had no business singing "What's Your Fantasy." No business. But when I tell you, "What's Your Fantasy" took me to a place that I may have to have some texting tonight, because just the impact of that on the culture and just bringing women into, which women were already in hip hop in the late 90s, but bringing new fresh women into early 2000s hip hop was not really a thing. There were a lot of R&B singers. But "What's Your Fantasy" was just so Atlanta. It was so raunchy and just so Luda. And that song took me to a place. That was probably my favorite moment. Second favorite would have been when he opened the show and just set the tone with "Welcome to Atlanta." I mean, what more do you want? It was a perfect opener, only to be diffused by meth and bad Wi-Fi.
Like what more? "Welcome to Atlanta" is such a like, I'm in Brooklyn and I'm like, "Welcome to Atlanta," and that it just is what it is, and it's a whole shift. It shifts atmospheres. I'm gonna say that.
So I had two, and it was one from each artist. One, of course, from Luda. I had no business singing Fantasy in no way, form, or fashion, but that took me to a place. And then I actually have to give it up to Nelly, because when he played "Shake Your Tail Feather," I completely stopped what I was doing and literally shook my tail feather, because that song is gonna always be a bop to me. Like, no matter where we go, that's gonna always be a bop. I can't wait till I have children so they can look at me like I'm crazy when that song comes on.
And they might. And that's cool. Tiff, what about you?
I broke out a good.
Listen, that's solo music.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Finally, a hit. We know this one.
Yes. I think for me, there were a few. Splash Waterfalls for one, and I'm gonna just leave that there.
Were your waterfalls splashing?
I said what I said. I'm just gonna leave that there. I immediately stopped and my head went down.
I feel like it's a fair question, because last week, we kept talking about Jill saying she smelled different. So
that was on that Crown Royal on Ice. And we're not going to go back to that conversation because that is also a different type of vibe. I'm going to just say Splash Waterfalls is one. The other was when he played Sierra O. It took me back to graduation night for me. I still had my 1987 Honda Accord in some lame club parking lot, calling ourselves celebrating that we were graduating. And I crawled on top of my 1987 Honda Accord in true Sierra fashion.
And I told you that you shouldn't have done that, because your glove compartment has started not closing, and that the gravity just was not going to help that.
Dang,
when you have friends for too long, you tell pieces of stories.
I was actually in the
leaving
car
out.
with you the day that you went to close the glove compartment and it came back down, and I was like, you know what? I don't think that's ever gonna close again. That was
and it didn't. It never closed again.
Lap dance, and now they don't know how to act.
Listen, it either refused to close or it would close and wouldn't open back up. There was no in between.
You hate to see it.
Listen, you hate to see it. That was my struggle part though. It was a stick shift, and I sure did. I crawled right on top of it when Sierra O came on. I don't even remember why we were outside the club and not in, because who knows? I don't know. Whatever. Those are my couple of moments.
I just feel like kids should really know that they really do have it good, because that was not too long ago. But I'm like, that smashing on your dash for the radio to come on, like, those were times. Those were times. Splash Waterfalls, definitely for me. I did inappropriate tweet, but that
you
was,
did. Bianca and I tried to report you.
It came out the year I got my license. So, I was just on the go. And that's like you. That's all I'll say on that. I think also though, Pimpin' All Over the World did something to me that I didn't expect, because I recall, like, we were at a time, like, Atlanta it's just magical. It's just a magical place. And so for me to go into the city and, broke as hell, while broke still, I'm not bothered like he's saying in the song, but I got my windows down and I'm riding down Peachtree, and it's just a memory of, like, dreaming about what life would be like and what life would be. And Pimpin' all Over the World definitely took me there. So I was like, that's the one I wasn't expecting. Ludacris is just phenomenal. And then with Nelly, I'll say I love Country Grammar. Flap Your Wings is funny to me, so I think it means something different just because, and Tiff can talk, she knows about this. I had a teacher that was very oddly shaped. So, and I say oddly shaped.
Wait a minute, I gotta pull up your tweet. I can tell the story.
She was a bigger woman, but she wasn't like, she wasn't Sherman Klump. But it was just oddly shaped. It was kind of like her arms were turned the other way. She kind of walked with it. She's very odd. And so I just remember telling her one day, like, yo, Miss Humphrey, drop down and get your eagle on. And like, it was a moment. She was very, how teachers could be like in that day, like very literal. She's like, drop down and get my eagle on. And at this point, she's trying to dive into like what I'm saying.
I really hate you. Oh my gosh.
She didn't look like that though.
Oh, but this was my response. It doesn't show my response. I said this is actually a pretty good depiction. It was a pretty good depiction.
It's significant though. I always have a story because there's things I just don't forget. She's a memorable teacher, and I said that to her because there was one day, and we're not going to stop off for too long, but she took her
pantyhose.
She took her pantyhose off in class. So, like I told you, she was oddly shaped. So it was already like, and
one day we'll have to just do a whole show on our high school stories. Because every time it's a whole other
those pantyhose off in class, and and someone asked her about it, like, how you just gonna
You know what she said? Fuck them kids.
She didn't give a damn.
Think about it. Her life was a struggle. She had dilemma after dilemma during
it was just like it was, and it's as an adult, you start to understand these things because she was going through things that we couldn't really relate to. Like, she had literally just got married before the year started. We met her with this name, and then a month later, she's changing it. we're thinking that she got married. That's why she's changing it, but she's getting a divorce after a month. And so, like,
Had
I
a
just
whole
recall the
breakdown.
time, and I'm much more sympathetic now. But you know, in 11th grade, she just was in class one day, writing on the board, and just broke down. She just starts weeping, and then like at a classroom of 30 kids, you don't really know what to do with that. Like, it's like, okay, you just go.
Alex, you have to do the impression so that I don't look like an asshole for why I'm laughing.
She was it was a pre-cal class, so she's writing, and she's just writing, and all of a sudden she had told us the assignment. She's working out a problem or something. She was like, and then she just like, and I remember being stunned, like. So she just hits the floor, and then when she hit the floor, it was just kind of like, yo, like, can we? And somebody ran and got another teacher. But at the time, you know, like, teachers are mysterious adults to you.
Right.
You know what adults are. You have plenty of interactions with adults, but teachers are in another category. You don't think they have real lives. They don't seem like real people.
Right.
You know, and now that I have friends that are teachers and principals, I'm like, oh, I would thought about this all wrong. But that breakdown was just, you know, and so because I asked her to drop down and get her eagle on, it was just an interesting year with her. Oh, you know, I think I'm Facebook friends with her, so if she sees this, Miss Humphrey, sorry.
Jesus.
Now that's it.
Maybe her last name isn't Humphrey anymore.
I don't think it is. I think she got another husband, but look at me. That's not, I didn't even say that right. Let's change the subject. Can we?
Like I said, we're going to have a whole other show on our high school stories, because every time we get started, all of our friends are like, y'all really have just stories for days, and it's really bad. So yes, going back to the battle, we kind of did, but let's go through and see who we think the winner is for this particular Verzuz. Bianca, who you got?
Christopher Brian Bridges.
Call the whole name. Ty, who you have?
As much as it pains me to say, I'm gonna just have to give it to Luda.
Ooh, okay. I'm sorry that it pains you, but you know.
I mean, let's not talk about it, because I'm deeply just move on.
You weren't coming prepared to say that tonight. I understand.
I was not. I said this to Tiffany earlier when she said who she had. I was like, girl, please. And I'm just, internet has failed us. That's not.
See, I came to it with a totally open mind. I can not have a bias. I really can't. And unfortunately, and I called this early, probably because I was pissed off at 8:15 when Nelly really got started. And this is just gonna have to go to Luda. And it's just, it was the delivery.
Bianca,
and this is what I wanted to get to this, because being raised, and I know people that weren't raised in Atlanta, y'all feel some type of way when we talk about our Blackness and the way that we were raised, but it was different. It was just different. And there's a standard. What I want to get here, because like I said, I'm born in St. Louis. I know the standard. I see the standard. I know what's produced there. Great artistry, great music, great flavor. But there is a standard of requirements that is just put on people from Atlanta. You just don't really show up because of the fact. And it's not only that you could really get clowned, but I think the pressure, it's not even pressure. There's just a standard that you're taught. So the pressure to come prepared, be on time. Like Ludacris was on time. He was prepared when he was on time. He was not only on time, like Nelly was on his live at 7:03, but Luda was there. He was seated. He was focused. He was ready.
Yes.
Very reminiscent of Babyface. Seated, ready, let's go.
I think
Teddy's in the back trying to, and it's indicative of, at the minimum, having somebody managing the process with you. Like there was a standard of excellence that Ludacris came with. Then there was a standard of excellence that his team required of him, so that he didn't look like a fool, because they would probably feel like they looked like fools. Nelly was I felt like the first 15 minutes, Ludacris was saying things, and Nelly is just yelling back as if he can't hear anything Ludacris is saying. He's just talking, yeah, bro, we gonna get this started. Yeah, we about to do this, bro. Yeah, bro, we gonna turn up, bro. Yeah, it's about to go down, bro. Yeah, because you had hits, bro. You had hits, bro. Yo,
meanwhile, Ludacris was very calmly.
He's trying to have a conversation with
you. You know, you went diamond, and that's a real good accomplishment, bro. And then I was like, Luda just here for this brotherhood, and I'm here for that.
But I guess you can do that. You could be that way as Ludacris was when you have a catalog of songs versus a daily bread of songs.
Also, it's two things. So one is Luda's success is not solely tied to his music. He's a businessman.
Yeah.
So he's had experiences with people and in rooms that Nelly may own 15 Burger Kings. I don't know. But I know for a fact that Luda has
probably White Castles, but I'm not gonna, whatever.
Raising Cane's, something.
Oh my God. All the hood places.
I know, because meth. And I know that Luda has been at tables where he has had to be prepared and be on and be ready, right? The other thing is, if we're really looking at the timeline of music in the early 2000s, Atlanta was running everything. Like that's just,
and that's very, very accurate.
Yeah.
And to that point, Nelly goes diamond, but Atlanta's running everything. And going back to the Atlanta train, the fundamentals that I learned that you have to be comprehensive and you cannot be monolithic. One thing is not going to work for you. It's just not going to work. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to do one thing and that's going to be it. So while it may look like Atlanta people just hustling all the time, no, there's a real mindset and a mentality that goes with it based on what you see and what you saw. And what success is not sold to you as something you get it and you attain it and you do nothing. So Ludacris produces that. Like when you look at him comprehensively, he produces that, and it was almost as if he was insinuating, I want what I have for you. Like some of the things I have, you're worthy of. You need to get some of these things. Mm-hmm. Let me bring you on up a little bit higher, because you're not, and like we know, Atlanta knows Luda Day weekend is going to be every Labor Day. It's undoubted. It's going to shut down the city.
Yes, have it all white ready.
Giving away anything from cars to scholarships. It's a brand. It's a brand. And I think he operated within that brand today. I can't say that he didn't.
So you said there was a part, at least in part, an Atlanta thing. What part of the culture is that where it's a mindset of one stream will not do? Like I am capable and I deserve to have my hands in different things. I deserve to have multiple streams of income. I deserve to have and run multiple businesses and have different business ventures and at least try. Like where does that come from?
I'll say this. I want to hear everyone's thoughts on it, but I'll say just from my perspective, being a product of the Midwest and actually growing up in Atlanta, I think visibility and accessibility are two things, and I say this all the time. Atlanta is the most pro-Black place that I know, pro-Black city in the United States. Kids grow up there not just seeing Black doctors, and not just saying Black entertainers, and that's what's shocked. Like people are like, oh, Atlanta's too Hollywood to me. They want to be Black. It's not what we want to be. What we see is Black doctors, Black mayors. I've only known Black mayors since I've lived there. Black dentists, Black teachers, Black business owners, Black things that are just operated. So you never believe that there's something that you can't do. And that's something that it's a psychological thing that happens naturally because it's not force fed into you. You can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Mm-hmm. In cities, other cities, a lot of times your family is pushing and buying for at least one person to graduate. one person to make it through college, one person to get out. And it would be great if everyone could do that, but everyone can't. The city's not built like that. They don't see a lot of that. They don't see a lot of Black business owners, a lot of Black owned businesses that are owned and run and operating well, and that are long lasting and maintaining. So I think I don't know that it's something that can just be said and taught without the application of you actually having to see. It has to be there. And so from a foundational place, I just think that the cards in so many ways are aligned and were aligned. And I think just Luda, he leaned into that.
Okay, cool. Who else? Bianca, Ty, I don't know which one of y'all want to go first. It really doesn't matter.
I think it has a lot to do with upbringing and experience, because I think as our ancestors did a very good job of embodying this hustle mentality where they made us believe that we could do anything we set our minds to. So we weren't limited to just rap or singing, that we could do and have our name be represented in any place. So I won't necessarily say that it is a Southern thing, but I do hold true my values, because I was raised around a bunch of people who really knew that they could do whatever they wanted to do, however they wanted to do it at multiple times. So I think Luda has experienced people in his life teach him and say to him and also show him that you can do whatever it is you want to do at any point in life.
Cool. Bianca, what do you think?
I agree. Alex obviously took whatever I was going to say, because I think Atlanta people can become so spoiled with the idea that it's do like this everywhere, because that's just how it has been. I was born in Tacoma, Washington, but I moved here when I was 4. My biological father is from here. I went to Clayton County Public Schools, went to Clark Atlanta University. There has never been a time where I did not see a Black person owning something, being in a position of leadership, having letters in front of and behind their name. And that alone is just like, this is the standard. They are not exceptions. This is how our city is run. And then additionally, I think that to Ty's point, community is very, very important, because you have people coming and teaching you, okay, so you've got this, that's great, it's not enough, but I'm going to show you how to do it. Right. Rather than it maybe in some places you want to be on top. You want to be the number one and the only one, when Atlanta recognizes there is more than enough to go around. Mm-hmm. So those are my points, but Alex said definitely everything.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, a lot of us are transplants, especially in Atlanta. Atlanta is really a melting pot of transplants. And for me, moving here when I was 7, my mom moved us down here. She didn't technically know anyone. We got introduced into a group of dope Black women who are now my aunts. They've literally watched me grow up. And this group of dope Black women are attorneys. They've been chief district attorneys. They've gone up to be appointed into positions by President Obama. They are CEOs, vice presidents, presidents at major corporations. So it's never been ingrained in me that, oh, you do this one thing and that's it, ever. Right. And even in all of my crazy decisions, my mom, for God bless her, she has tried her best to be like, okay, girl, whatever. And she's just like, you just always have 2 or 3 jobs. And you've always been like that. And I'm like, I don't know any other way to be. So right. I think it's just ingrained. Like, I agree with what everyone said. I think it's just something that's just set in you. Like, this is just who we are. And I'm here for it.
And while I understand that we are full, because whoever's watching, we're full. Please don't come back.
Please don't come. Don't.
I understand the appeal more now that I'm older, because if you've lived in a city for forever where you never see that, and you come for a football game or for a homecoming or whatever, and you see it for 2 to 3 days and that's all you see, you want some of that. You want some of whatever that Atlanta magic is. So while we are full, I understand the desire to be in the Black Mecca, as they call it.
Yeah, I think I'm very anti-Georgia right now. I love Atlanta, always will. I just think that the government, the state government is just trash. It's terrible. You guys should riot and overthrow that man and get him out of there. Ty, I agree with you as well. I think found your circle and the tribe that you're a part of. Sometimes it's your family, sometimes it's more than your family. For me, it was like everybody that had influence was just like, look, this is the standard, and the bar is here. And I think that, Tiff, your question was, how can that be taught? I think that the standard has to be set. And so someone has to set the standard. Someone has to see. It's easier to set standards in a place that standards are. I remember when I was like 20 and I had a friend come from the West Coast. He's like, he grew up in a really diverse, everything's diverse. He's like, everything is so Black. I was like, is it? Everything is like, it's just Black. And I'm like, yeah. And like you, Bianca, I see the appeal of it. Like, for people that have, I don't, like, just like Miss Humphrey wanted to say, fuck them kids. I saw a picture this today about, like when your kid, it was like a kid had scribbled all over someone's laptop. She's working from home. It's like, what do you do with this kid? I'm still in that. See ya. But for those friends of mine that are like, we're trying to figure out where to start our family. Like, you starting a Black family, you need to take them to a Black place. We're only in so many places in this country.
I agree.
And so for you to, like, while everyone else, and I think it's interesting to find us jumping into these conversations, like everyone's talking about the cost of living. The cost of living in Montana may be affordable. Why would you raise a Black family there? What would you get out of that? It's
what
just,
is Black?
Your children wouldn't be able to participate in conversations like this. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, so a lot of people, I saw some comments here also that like people were saying Nelly was high.
Yes.
That booger sugar is what it is.
We want to speculate, because a lot of people,
Bianca,
last week, there was a participant last week that kept leaving the camera view. Like, where is she going? Nelly left a couple times and came back and was sweating profusely.
And he came back.
There is an opioid epidemic. I work in public health. That baby needs help.
Because no, for real, she's right. Because Nelly was sweating 6 minutes in. We hadn't done nothing, so I didn't understand.
Right. And he hadn't drank enough out of that red Solo cup.
Snorting the mess.
On the contrary, it could have just been very hot where he was.
It was raining outside.
It's raining.
Don't that bring the coolness? I don't know. I don't live there.
I mean, Atlanta, rain and humidity. Now, come on, y'all.
But he's in St. Louis.
Is that where he was?
Yes, he was.
Everyone was speculating, but people from St. Louis were like, I don't think he's here.
Excuse me. Gerald, go to bed. I would like you to log off and go to bed.
That's
right.
I'm not on the internet.
I actually would like to read this comment. Ludacris beat Nelly like he was a white man at Georgia Tech who said that Jimmy John's is better than Gutbusters. Wow.
Graphic but accurate.
I mean, first of all, I agree with Jocelyn. Jimmy John's could never. You could. There is a Gutbusters breakfast not far from where I live. Jimmy John's could never.
Because why can I not tell you what I want on my sandwich? Why is it already? Can't.
I'm sorry. I actually can't.
I just can't.
Gutbusters since my spelling days. It's near and dear to my heart. I'm not letting Gutbusters go ever.
You just no. You have to go. I'm sorry.
Bianca, we can see you. We can see you.
If there was another person or another battle that we wanted to see, who and why?
I have been.
I'm growing weary with this, but go ahead, Todd.
I've been tweeting this for days, and I really would hope that people would just listen to me. I would love to see Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. I think that is a battle that is just, that's energy.
That is energy.
I think the world needs
Agreed.
to see
Do they have, I would really only give them an hour. I don't think that we're ready for 3 hours with them.
Oh no. I don't think we could go over an hour with them. But I think the world needs to see music, real rap music.
On that note, Bianca and Tiff, hold this. The reason I think that we're gonna have a problem seeing rap battles, and this is not to be disparaging at all. I know that there are a lot of people that will end up hearing this or watching this, and some of these new rappers are your favorite. You know, like they are your favorite. And I really don't have anything against the mumble rap genre at all. I'm not, you know, whatever. Nice beats. I also implore you. I implore you to
beautiful. Wait a minute.
I implore you to read some of those lyrics. I want to say that I was probably in California enjoying some green, and I think I was reading the Migos stir fry lyrics. I was just reading them plainly. And I don't know, I'm not gonna do that here because that would just end the show. If I just started reading the lyrics like as is, but
I'm sorry, that nice beat.
That nice beat.
The way because you cannot slide past that like you didn't say what you did. You have to go back.
I just really I was just using that as an example, but we know like okay, so in the battles we're gonna see like Kodak Black and what's the one with all the colors who's a snitch running through the face?
6ix9ine.
Or is Lil Nas X gonna jump in and
don't nobody want to hear Old Town Road. I don't want to hear that.
Panini. Don't be a meanie.
First of all, those are only 2 songs I know by Lil Nas X. No shade. No shade.
I don't
really like a roach and a rainbow battle either. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Okay, back up. Did you say a roach and a rainbow?
My thing is, you can pick them all apart. If you,
he definitely has grasshopper tendencies.
Well,
if you and I didn't even want to do this because I didn't want to drive this point home. But in the days of battles, and even like with the battles with the music, dance with my dogs in the nighttime, roof, trap, nigga with the chickens like Popeyes, money changing colors like tie-dye. I'm just trying to get it. I ain't trying to die.
Oh my god.
Like, dancing with my dogs in the nighttime. Roof.
I mean, because all they literally, I literally said this to Tiffany earlier today when we were talking about who could battle who, and Migos came up, and I literally said all they do in the studio is somebody spits a verse and niggas is in the background making a bunch of noises. And somebody said, "Oh, that shit sound good. We should keep that." No.
Well, there's this guy on. I want you guys to go find him. You may know who I'm talking about. I'll put the link on the Unpacking Culture, Unpacking Culture Facebook, so you can check him out. I think his name is like something Bernardez or something like that. He has shown us what music has come to because he's remade everybody's song in 1 minute.
I'm dead.
And it's some of the most phenomenal exposing I have ever seen. Like, you will watch him, and Tiffany, you say I end artists for you all the time. Like, I probably just ruined Migos forever. But if you watch this producing in 1 minute, he did Tory Lanez, Weeknd, Drake. I mean, there's just it's just a whole, like, that's it. And Bianca, go ahead.
Beats has taken me out of here.
Beats and Wolf.
Beats and Wolf. I'm done.
Actually
Beats and Wolf.
But
I didn't want to forget that point, so I just wanted to drive it home. Like it's that is the days that we yearn for, those battle days, they're over. Those we need to understand that we are the uncles and aunties of the future, but the future is now. We are talking about what was and what has been, and we're gonna have to live in that nostalgia because it's not coming back.
I have a few battles I would like to see.
Okay.
So the vocal pamphlet, Brandy, and
did you say pamphlet?
the great room that has every block, Monica. I would love to see.
Well, that's not fair.
He also wanted to get me started. And that's
not fair though, because you speaking about Monica, who has a vocal category, versus Brandy, who again daily breads.
I would like to see it.
Daily breads.
Just from Monica's facial expressions alone, and then I would like to see Trey Songz and Drake.
They would look like Ludas. They both are ATL down to the core.
First of all, Monica's probably going to leave. I don't even think she's.
The thing is,
she's definitely not given as many chances as Luda did.
Aside from Brandy coming to the battle dressed like Whoopi Goldberg, which I'm not really, because you know her new attire, she wears rags and I don't know. She looks like she teaches 4th grade art, gets paint all over and just shows up.
You know,
but the lying has got to stop. Like, I would love to see the vocal pamphlet because I do enjoy her music and I enjoy her artistry. I just think
you're not making this a thing. We are not going to start calling her the vocal pamphlet.
Too late.
I've been saying it.
I'm going to read it. It's
I say it regularly. She's definitely nobody's vocal Bible. Like,
not
I agree with that.
So
people that take her technique, I don't want to demean her artistry because it's unique. There are people that use her as their base. There are people that do that shouldn't. There's a space for using your voice and running up the scale. And then there's a space for, like, Monica is a vocal powerhouse. That's what she is. She has the pipes. She has the ability. Brandy has a range, more so like she's able to really, really, she shows that she's really, really versatile. But the lies have got to stop. And this is why this is not going to happen. And I tweeted about this earlier today, and this is what we're talking about. These battles, it's important to put it out there. Brandy did an interview with Frank Ski on Thursday. And he was like, you know, I really want to. Now, this is the thing. She didn't know that Frank Ski had already had a conversation with Monica. So here comes Brandy, like, oh, she doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to do it. From what I heard, she doesn't want to do it. And Frank's messy, as usual. There's nothing has changed.
Well,
because he knows he just had this conversation with Monica that she says she's open to it as long as if it was about positivity. Now, at first when I saw the Frank Ski Brandy interview, I let it ride. And then something in me said, Alex, rewatch this. And like Alex would do, I rewatched it. And when she said she heard, and then I was like, okay, Brandy, you said you heard, but you lied. You have a record of lying. But Monica's not the type of person that you heard what she said. Monica's the type of person Monica said. Monica said. And so when I heard she said that she heard, I just retweeted it. Like, my first tweet said, oh, this is interesting. Monica probably shouldn't do this. Because every time they do something together, Brandy has 2 years of trauma afterwards. You know, she relapses to when Monica knocked her out, and she's just over it for 2 years. And we see her exploding overly. Oh, and I'm like, Monica probably just doesn't want to go through that with her again. But when I retweeted it, because I caught the herd, people came with receipts. So the next thing you know, my mentions, and you can go search by mentions and you'll see it yourself. People gave me the Frank Ski interview. And it's like, you know, Brandy, I just want you to stop lying. I just really want you to stop lying. And I think, you know, for your fans, this is the problem with I've determined the problem with fans, not fans, stans, is usually they can't see past the fact that they're a fan of this person. Like
Right.
the person is an actual person. They may make errors. They may not be completely truthful. And that's fine that they can't see that, but it's kind of spilled into the society we live in. People think news is fake if they don't agree with it. And that's just not how any of this works. You can't make up your own facts. There's no such alternative facts are lies.
Correct.
And news that you don't like is just something you don't like or don't agree with. That doesn't mean that it's fake. So that's it. I would love to see that battle. I really would. I really would love, because then Monica, I just would love, because Brandy, the thing with Brandy, we're gonna get a lot of great hits and songs that we remember, a lot of nostalgia, but it's gonna be a lot of songs that sound the same. She used a lot of the same tonality, a lot of the same runs. When Monica comes through, you're gonna see growth, and then you're gonna see where she will all of a sudden drop something where she'll show that she has the ability. She has that Brandy ability. You just don't hear it in everything. So I would. That's one that I would love to see as well. If there was another one that I could see, and this is a stretch, I don't think it would ever happen, but I would love to see, totally not the same vein, but I would love to see it just because of their personalities, Toni Braxton and Mariah Carey.
I don't want to be there.
I don't want to hear Mariah scream.
I'm scared.
Terrified.
Yeah.
Terrified.
Tony is not. I thought that Tony is not with the shit for the last 2 battles ago.
No, Tony's not with the shit, and Mariah is very petty. So it could turn into a very ridiculous session. But if they were just talking about like where they think about how you grew up with both of them.
Yeah.
You know? And if you listen to either one, they both take you to a certain place. I would love to see that.
I mean, if we could go to number ones or Rainbow Mariah, then sure.
But if we doing anything post Shake It Off, I don't hear it.
Yeah, no.
What about Drake and Trey Songz?
I'm not
and Chris Brown. I don't know about Drake and Trey and no, maybe Trey and Chris. I don't know about Drake and
Chris.
There's no comparison between Trey and Chris.
Trey Songz cannot really sing, people. He can't really sing.
But he
I don't think Trey Songz can sing.
No, stop. Do not get Alex started on Trey Songz. No, we're not doing that tonight.
I would just say, Alex, I completely agree. I don't think Trey can sing. That's just me. That's all I got.
I just think that if you know comedians and you know people that are really good at imitations, people that can imitate people, they can become singers because they sound like somebody. If you look at Trey's old catalog, if you actually listen to the music, Trey Songz sounds like a Toni Braxton, R. Kelly love child. Period.
Thank you. I said what I said. I said do not get him started on Trey Songz. I said what I said. I had a reason to say. I heard you say it. I said what I said.
I'm just so glad we had this time together, but I'm gonna have to head out on that.
You gotta listen to me. I said don't get him started.
So if you really listen to Trey, you don't hear Toni Braxton come right through and then R. Kelly right on top of it. Like really, can't help but wait.
You know what? Because I really see you. I can't believe it. So I'm gonna have to hear it. Because we have to hear this. I think the world should hear this.
Oh my God, how did we get here?
Soon as we get started making love, going harder, knocking on.
Turn it off before Facebook cuts us off. I'm not doing this tonight. I have someone, but I don't know who she's against. I'm moving on because I can't. Ty, you got to fix your face.
Because I can't. Alex, I can never listen to that song anymore because wow.
Listen, I tried to tell you he will ruin artists for you. You were warned. That's on you. I have someone. I'm not sure who he will go against, so maybe y'all can help me with this. Jasmine Sullivan.
Who's she gonna go against? Who is she gonna go against?
No.
I don't know.
She's not going.
She's not what?
She's not going.
I don't know who. I don't know who she would
She doesn't have 20 rounds in her. She has 20 rounds for people who listen to her music.
Now that's true. That's true.
That's true.
I agree.
That's
Now
true.
I don't see Fantasia go, but I don't know who she would go against.
Ooh, Tasia.
Fantasia and who?
I don't know because that's unmatched.
Ooh. Oh, no. Faith Evans and
Mary. No, not Mary.
Mary J. Blige.
Evans and Mary.
Wow. Now that's a battle. I can see that. That's a battle.
I think that would be the one. And Mary's catalog is definitely much larger. However, they have enough to go for 2-3 hours together.
I agree.
That
Now,
would
I don't want. I want someone else running the technology for both of them if we're going to do that.
Yeah, I don't want Mary in the camera like.
You know, as soon as Diddy finds out that she's doing a versus battle, he's all over it. So all in the video. I mean, he's doing it all.
Go sit your ass down.
Somebody said J-Lo versus Ashanti.
I'm good.
I actually see that, and neither. Well, here's the thing. Okay, so I used to say that Ashanti can't sing, but Ashanti actually paved the way. And this is me. I'm somebody that's backtracked on like 10 years of me, you know, really getting on Ashanti and her sideburns for a long time. I just really was not here for it for a long time. And you know, there's lots of myths that came up through music, you know, but if you go back and listen to Ashanti, she actually was doing the thing. There was she was on live with Fat Joe this week. I don't know if you guys saw that, and he admitted to her that Irv Gotti and Ja Rule wanted to take her off of What's Love and put J-Lo on it because they wanted to reach the Latina community with it. And Ashanti was like, whoa, I never knew that. I could see Faith and Mary. I think that would be really dope.
I think that'd be
Yeah, that would be fire.
So Gerald says,
Fantasia.
are you talking about Cassette Mitchell? No.
She's
Jasmine Sullivan and Cassette Mitchell.
in theory, that's a great battle. In theory. Yeah. That's a great battle. Jasmine just doesn't have the range for hits, and Cassette was canceled. I have
2.2 people on it.
Yeah, no. No.
I'm not coming to see Cassette sing anything, and that's
I'm not
that
coming
is
to
just
hear her. Not a
It's
thing.
not gonna happen.
Should have had that epiphany before she went to sing 45.
Right. No, I'm sorry. I'm not here for Cassette Mitchell at all.
No, nobody want to hear that.
No.
So what about groups? So somebody said 112 versus Jagged Edge, but 112 is literally beefing. So it would be like the half of 112 they could get versus Jagged Edge, and then we have SWV and Escape. We have Outkast versus ain't nobody touching Outkast. I'm sorry. Nobody touching Outkast.
I was waiting to see who you were going to put against Outkast.
Nobody's going against Outkast.
I mean,
Drew Hill and who?
Nobody. Because Drew Hill is my favorite male group of all time.
Listen, this is not likely at all, but it really, to me, would have to be Cisco and Fantasia.
That's a lot.
No. So, any final thoughts for tonight on Luda versus Nelly? Final thoughts, because no,
there is an opioid epidemic in this country, and so if you have people that you care about, please make sure that they have the resources they need to move away from the opioids and live a life of recovery and independence.
I mean, my only thoughts right now concerning the whole entire battle is let us do ourselves a favor and check our internet so that when we go on live and do certain things, we are connected with the people and we're not lagging. That's all I have.
Alex, are you playing Trey songs?
I just wanted to prove this one point. Watch. Seeing, believing. That's his mama.
Wow.
Tony is his mama. I'm gonna leave you guys with this just to further that point. Trey Songz at the beginning of his career actually did an answer. So it's not really listening to R. Kelly. He did a response to Trapped in the Closet. He did what he called the husband version. Oh, look at, I'm opening eyes. You can go out there. You're not going to believe that if you want me to send it to you, if you can't find it,
Please.
I have it.
Please.
I'm not
I'm
gonna play it. I believe that Trey Songz was the one that pissed R. Kelly off to make him do 30 versions of it.
Please.
Because Trey Songz released it. It sounded the exact same. It started playing on Chicago radio, and R. Kelly got pissed. It's incredibly insane. But go do that research for you. For those of you that really love Trey Songz, he's just really not a singer. He's someone that imitates music really well. Other than that, I can't wait for the next one. I don't know what the next Verzuz battle is going to be, but of course we'll unpack it the same way. There's so many interesting things that come out of it all. And I just think that we need this. We need it more than anything. I do want to give a shout out to President Barack Obama for just speaking your truth to power against the president and his staff that's doing nothing twice today. He did it twice today, once during the Verzuz battle today, and earlier today when he was speaking to HBCUs. Make sure you go watch that as well. I just, that's it. Thank you guys for coming.
I would also like to add this to Bianca and Alex's point. I think they did a very good job of giving Brandy somewhat of a credit because you guys called her a vocal pamphlet. Because to me personally, she is definitely the Spanish translation to the instruction manual. But that's just my thoughts.
So thank y'all for joining us tonight. If there's another battle, we may do another one of these. Maybe we'll get some. I don't know. Sure.
This hashtag, I'm sick.
Bianca, how do folks stay in touch with you?
I am Bianca Danae on Facebook as listed, and then Lovely Melody on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. Thank you. And Ty, how do folks stay in touch with you?
I am Tariana Harris on Facebook and txyx.n on Instagram.
txyx.n. All right.
Yeah. Alex, how do they stay in touch with you?
I'm Alex Unmuted on everything. Alex Unmuted, Instagram, Twitter, and .com.
And I am.
And I have a show that airs Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Boss FM Talk. Be there.
And I am.
One more thing.
Okay.
And a wonderful series. Sorry. A wonderful series, like an amazing series that I did this last week. And we did like light publicity around it, but we're going to actually start to promote it more. I was kind of nervous about it because I didn't know what was going to come of it. It was called Black Men Hear Me. And for 5 days, I spoke to Black men from all over the place. But the goal of the series was to get their perspectives, thoughts, and emotions. And Black men don't usually have the space to express those. So I had some really candid conversations with them. If you want to view any of those, they're all available right now in the Boss FM app. So if you download it from your app store, click shows, Unmuted Nation. You can click watch and you can watch all 5 days. They are long, so this is like something you may want to watch with friends or something to get you something to drink. Because these Black men really did open up in ways that I didn't expect. Conversations went places I did not expect. But everybody was just not brutally, but I think painfully true. And I couldn't be more appreciative for that. So I could not miss that moment. You guys need to check that out. And you can find it on YouTube also, Black Men Hear Me, the series. It's a 5-part series.
Awesome. Thank you. And that was a very dope series. So please, y'all check that out. I am Tiff Linnell on everything, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and .com. Thank y'all for tuning in. I guess we'll see y'all the next time when we unpack some more culture. Thank you, ladies, for joining our panel tonight and talking about this battle that wasn't really a battle, that Ludacris won hands down, period, forever. I love Atlanta, all that good stuff. chicken and beer and grits with sugar or salt and pepper, whatever your flavor. Thanks for tuning in, and good night. Peace out.
Good night. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.